going to teach you that if I can do it, then you can also do it too. When I was looking for a job in Canada at first, and I got my first engineering job where I had to do technical sales, I had absolutely almost zero experience. I had a lot of internships and I've done a lot of schooling. I went to university for 5 years. And ultimately that's what I really had. I had no real work experience, but however, I did have a few skill sets that I'm going to teach you and show you what I actually did in order to just get a job, right? And land a job. Right now, I'm just going to tell you that here's a huge opportunity because there's everywhere and there's a lot of places where you can actually find a job and it's easier. And you don't 100% need to do the exact same way that I did it because there's job boards. And I'm going to show you a few job boards that you could go through. But there's different ways that you can actually get this done by having a few skills. Some of those skills are sales and marketing. So in order for you to get a job, ultimately, you need to reach out to employers that potentially want to hire you, right? And you also need to sell yourself in order for them to take a look at your resume. And so that your resume can tell everything, or your presentation, or your pitch, or your portfolio, it can tell a picture. You get them on an interview, and you crush those interviews where you ultimately sell yourself and prepare very well so you can actually land a job and negotiate some sort of salary that you want, okay? And that's in a very high level. But first, you need to become a marketer. In order to become a really good marketer, there's several steps that I actually did. For example, I made sure that my LinkedIn was amazing. I made sure that my online presence was amazing for employers to look at me and they'd be like, wow, this guy is professional. This guy knows what he's talking about and has a lot of value to offer. So yes, my resume was great. My portfolio was great. My CV was great. And I even reached out to my potential employers, even if they were not hiring. And I even created like a lead generation sheet that I'm going to actually show you here real quick as an example of how you could actually do it with job boards. So for example, in this one, this is a lead generation sheet that I created for myself when I was cold calling offices of employers that I want them to be hired in the city of Toronto. And you can do the exact same thing because I cold called several people and went through like hundreds of interviews until I landed an actual job. But you can do something similar to this, and I can create something or help you create something for the job boards where you can basically know which jobs are out there, which companies are the ones that are giving it to you, or the agencies, where they're located, the phone number of the person that is in charge, or so on, emails, and the follow-up field so that you can keep up with this. And ultimately, this is a lead generation sheet where this is very simple. What I did is that I did some outbound marketing. So I cold call, did some outreach in the form of email. So I cold email these people, I cold call these people, I cold message these people. But now it's even easier to do that through job boards. I'm going to show you a few job boards and also through the recruiting company. So if you're consistently following up with all these employers and just cold calling, for example, employers or cold calling the recruiting companies, it's easier for people to notice you, right? Obviously, before that, I made sure that my LinkedIn profile was great, my Indeed profile was great, my Facebook profile was great, my Instagram profile was great. I had some credibility, and I'm going to teach you a few things. But basically, that's kind of like what I did, and I'm just going to dive into it because it's a great story. I was able to cold call like hundreds of companies. I landed my job where it was at first $40,000 a year, and then I also had like a $500 extra bonus per month or something like that. And then after that, I was able to do the same thing. I found a job in Michigan and a recruiter helped me, but I was doing exactly the same thing. That first job, it was like $75,000 a year. And well, minded that obviously I had to, get a visa in the US, but you guys don't have to get a visa here, just a remote job. And I was a Canadian citizen, so it was a little bit easier to get that high pay, right? And then for the next job, I did exactly the same thing. I landed an $85,000 a year job and so on. So there's a lot of different things that I did for my engineering jobs that I actually landed, for the technical sales engineering that I actually landed. I'm going to teach you what you need to do. Okay, you're ready.